Welcome to the Craftswoman channel.
Greetings, welcome back to my channel. I will be reviewing the WAGS to Riches episode season 1, episode 3 and 4. So the first episode is called Humble Baddies. So it starts out with they're in the car, Stony and Miranda. They talk about Sherelle, and Stony is saying that Sherelle wants to be the only boss in the group. Miranda compared Stony to Jules. Miranda was basically saying that Stony and Jules are like the out girls, or the ones who are not like the favorite girls, the real friends. They are the ones who are less likely to be liked. Well, really it's Sherelle and Ashley who have a problem with, who seem to be like the quote unquote mean girls. Stony says that Sherelle is telling everybody business but her own. The second scene is at the bar. Ashley meets Alexis, which is, she's also called Lexi, at the bar. And Ashley is saying that her and Philip want to move out of the country for 6 months. And then Lexi tells Ashley that her and her husband moved out abroad, out of the country, to Jerusalem for 6 months with their children. And I was like, you know what? I knew Lexi had some type of culture about her. Like the way that she is, she's really different from the other girls in my opinion. So I think that's why that I probably like her a little bit more. So Alexis and Ashley starts to talk about dating, and Lexi is newly divorced from Amari Stoudemire, and she's talking about how she's newly divorced and she's been out here dating, and it seems like men think they are the prize. So she's just experiencing what's out here, pee in the water, you know, as a lot of people say, pee in the dating pool. And then Ashley surprises her basically with a blind date. And so the guy comes in, he's cool, he's attractive, and Ashley and the guy starts to talk. I'm sorry, I forgot his name. I didn't write it down. But they're starting to talk, and Ashley is saying that she has 4 children. How many children does the guy have? The guy says he has 0 children and he wants 4. And she was like, you haven't got started yet? So I think that's good that actually even Lexi said that she is open to having more children, even though she has 4. So I mean, that's good. And the guy didn't have any children, so they hooked them up. Ashley hooked them up, and then they were saying, is this the first date, or we're going to have a second date? And they were like, no, this is not the first date. So they're going to have like a real official date. So Ashley was cool, good friend, up there hooking her up with somebody else. Lexi reveals that she owns a cannabis farm, black-owned cannabis farm. She's an investor. That's what the subtitle says under her name, which is good. You know, she's in the cannabis business. We need more black people, especially more black women in the cannabis industry, because it is like white male owned, and we know that a lot of black men are incarcerated by the same thing that they're legalizing now, marijuana, in a lot of states. In the third scene, Chad and Sherelle makes their bold entrance. Sherelle starts to go around the table and start to ask people if they wanted more children. She asked Portia if they wanted more children because Portia is pregnant again with number 3, I believe. I think they already, her and Andre have 2 children. So this is a third one. And she said that no, she's not finished having children, that they said that they wanted 4. I believe that I believe that Ashley has 2 sons by her husband, Philip Wheeler. And Sherelle asked her, you need a little girl. That's such a common thing when you all have children of one gender. Somebody always says, you gonna try for this, or you gonna try for a boy if you have all girls, you gonna try for a boy if you have all girls. And Ashley was like, no, we're done. I'm sending my children to their grandparents' house. And her husband was shaking his head, no, like, we're done. Sherelle then asked Jules, did she want another child? And Jules hesitated for a minute, and then she said, you know, if that's God's plan, then she's okay with that. The thing that I have about asking couples, or even asking a mother, does she want to have more children, is such a personal, private, invasive question. Please don't ask that question. And as you can see in this scene, some other things happen because of that question. You don't know what someone is going through. It could be couples that are fighting because one person wants to have more children and another person does not, or maybe they're having fertility issues, infertility issues. So I don't think it's a good question to ask people. I don't care how close you are. If you're having another one, is this your last one? Chad asked Portia, is this your last one? That is so not a good question to ask anybody. You don't know what people's personal... Somebody could be having reoccurring miscarriages and they're heartbroken that they have negative pregnancy tests. Some may... It's just not a good question, okay? So don't ask anybody. Lesson. Tip. Doula tip. Don't ask anybody if they're having more children or if it's their last one. It's none of your business. It's a personal, private decision when people are family planning and trying to decide if they want to have more children or if they don't want to have any more. Stoney goes to the bar. They were already at a separate table, but Stoney goes to the bar, and then Lexi, Miranda, they're all together. So it's like two separate tables with basically the outsiders, like, and then Lexi came over to kind of make them feel, I'm guessing, a little more comfortable, because they know that she probably knew that they were feeling like they were outcasted a little bit. And this is another thing. Chad actually told Sherelle's friend that she would hook her up with somebody. He was like, I got somebody for you. And they were like, who? And when he said Shannon, they all looked like, oh, you know. So, I mean, who knows? You know, we got the rumors out about Shannon. He leaked his own fake leak of this Instagram live of him doing Michelle. Everybody knows the infamous Michelle video fake release, fake hack that has happened, when we know that you got to push so many buttons to go on live on Instagram. He said he didn't know he was going live on Instagram while he was actually in the act of his personal intimacy. So the guys ended up leaving the girls there, and Sherelle's friend got into it with Jules. So then we see the big blow up, an actual physical fight. I didn't know it was going to be a real fight. But the friend, I believe her name is Annette. I'm not sure. I didn't write her name down. But the friend was going at it with Jules. They were arguing. The friend was basically questioning Jules about saying that she was a culture vulture, and she wanted to wear a shirt that said N-word lie. And she had made a tweet basically that said, Inja's gonna lie. So the tweet says, N-words lie a lot. And Jules tweeted, am I allowed to wear this shirt? And so they were questioning her on being a culture vulture. Now, she wears the braids. There's nothing wrong with anybody wearing braids. It's a black hairstyle, but I don't think it's really anything wrong with other people wearing braids. I mean, you got people putting on hair hats, you know, wearing fake weaves, so I don't really see an issue with that. But they were saying that she's a culture vulture, which is not really far-fetched from her. She looks like she wished she could be a black girl. If she could die and come back a black woman, she would love it. And another thing that they said about Shannon Sharpe is that he has all these rules, and one of his rules is that if you use the bathroom, you have to use it downstairs, meaning like if you have a bowel movement. Ashley made a good point. Well, Portia was like, well, it leaves some mystery. And then Ashley was like, well, you don't have this man's kids and you can't SHIT in front of him. So, that's a personal thing. But when you get married and when you together, you in a relationship, who's going to be trying to go all the way away? If there's a bathroom near and you got to have a bowel movement, sometimes you don't even know you have to have a bowel movement until you get on the toilet. So that's a little too much, Shannon Sharpe. I mean, you pushing it with that rule. So let's get back to the fight. So the friend is arguing with Jules. Jules said the B word, and she did not like that. And then Jules started pointing her finger, doing all of that. She was kind of pointing her finger like on a little scary, like. And then the other girl was pointing her finger, but the way she hit her was kind of like scary, like, you ain't really trying to fight up in here. So Jules pointed her finger, the girl slaps her finger, and then it's on. They fighting up in the restaurant with full makeup face. And then I think that I heard Jules say something about fake hair. Okay. So she starts to say all of these things, and they started fighting, and old girl was on the top of her. Like, She was getting her. Not getting her real good, but she got her, and they were fighting, and they were bleeping out like portions of it, so you couldn't really see the whole fight. And there was somebody, like an employee in the restaurant, or maybe it was a producer, that came in and tried to break up the fight. Andre heard everything. Later on, he was like, I heard some furniture moving. And, him being a retired boxer, he know what fighting sounds like. So he came in there. On the rooftop, Ashley, like the three humble baddies, Ashley, Sherelle, and Lexi, is on the rooftop basically discussing the fight. And Sherelle was saying that it's known that everybody thinks that she's a culture vulture, and basically Ashley was like, she's out the group. It's disrespectful for her to fight black women and talk about black women and all this type of stuff. Jules also calls the friend the B word, and that could be seen kind of like the N word, where it's like, if you know somebody that you can use that word, kind of like that. But it's disrespectful if you're not friends. It's kind of like the tone that you use it in. It's the way that you say the B word that can be offensive. But with her, not being cool with her, it was totally offensive, as the lady says. But Jules told the girl to lower your MFing voice when you talking to me. Like, okay. At the restaurant, Jules revealed to Sade that she was actually pregnant by Duke. 6 weeks. No. I don't know how many weeks. Maybe it was 16 weeks, but whatever it was at the end point to where you got to figure out if you're going to keep it or if you're going to terminate. And because Duke said that he didn't want any more children, which if you don't want no more children, you shouldn't be shooting up a club. You shouldn't be ejaculating inside of no woman if you know you don't want any more children. Whether she's on birth control or not, women lie. Men lie, numbers don't. But still, as a man, you are in control. Can't be no baby without no sperm. So if you know that you didn't want any more children, you should have not ejaculated inside of her. But y'all having a good time. And she ends up pregnant, and then she got to deal with this physically and emotional. So it's very important, ladies, to protect yourself. If you know that you personally don't want to have any children, if you know that the man is going to be careless and just ejaculate inside of you and not withdraw. So get on your birth control, whatever you got to do. Look at your ovulation calendar to make sure you don't have any oops babies. You don't have any surprise babies. If you're not planning for pregnancy, make sure that you're doing everything to avoid pregnancy. So Sade was all on her side saying, you're not a culture vulture. I don't believe, no, I don't think you're a culture vulture. You're not. I know she's not a culture vulture. So that's what she said during the confessional interviews that they have. Sade was caping so hard for Jules about her not being a culture vulture. Now I don't follow Jules. I don't know what she's posted, but if everybody is saying that and just from the looks and the way she's acting, I don't know, maybe she is a culture vulture. And also back to that restaurant, I did notice how Stoney was just keeping her distance from the so-called mean girls, from the girls that didn't like her. I mean, I think that was a good decision for her to just separate herself to avoid anything happening. Some stuff happened, but it wasn't between her. So we're going to move on to episode 4. And that episode they called He's Outside, Sweetie. And oh my gosh, it got even better. I mean, episode 3 was good. Episode 4 was even better. I'm in tune now. You know, it's getting real good. Sheree and Portia meets up at this boutique. I ain't really see nothing nice in that boutique, but they started to discuss the relationship between Sherelle and Chad, and she was saying how they get into these small arguments, and we know in relationships small arguments can become big arguments and lead to separation. But she said that I gave him some, and then he said I'm hungry, and she was like I am too, and he was like I'm hungry. He said it more than once, and she said she's scrolling her phone basically trying to look for some Uber Eats or whatever to get some food. And he got an attitude. He wasn't happy about that. He was getting ready to leave. And she said, where you going? And he said, McDonald's. You know, he loves some McDonald's. He big up on some McDonald's. So basically it seemed like after them doing the do, that he wanted her to go in the kitchen and cook him something to eat. She also talked about getting ready for the wedding and getting ready for marriage, and she wanted to make sure that she was securing her finances because she knows that the baby mamas can come after everybody, both the couples, or the man or the wife, the husband or the wife, when they are trying to get child support and different things like that. So Sherelle is like, look, everybody think that he helped me make my money. We built stuff together, but I had money before I even got with Chad. So she's trying to, rightfully so, protect her finances. But this is an issue when you marry a man who has 7 or 11. He has a lot of children. I think she said it's 11 together, but he has like 7 or 9. He has a lot of children. And later on, she said that she gets along so well with all of the baby mamas. So she's concerned about her finances, rightfully so, and she want to protect herself. So then the next scene is at Casa Lex. That's what Alexis calls it, beautiful home. And Miranda comes over and they started to discuss her relationship with Kodak. And Miranda says that she called Yak. That's what she called him. She called Yak with another girl, and she said I swung on her and dragged her to the front door. I thought that we was not fighting no more. So Miranda was like, this is the last straw. Like, it was a deal breaker with him cheating. Lexi was playing big sis, which is what Miranda needs. She really needs somebody in her ear to give her positive advice, to give her positive encouragement. And she does. I didn't know if that the oldest one was 2. I believe the oldest one is a daughter and they have a son. So she does have 2 under 2, which can be extremely frustrating when you don't have help, when you don't have people helping you. I don't know where the mom's at, but Kodak is flying here and there, doing his shows, working, and she's at home by herself. Lexi also made a good point about medical racism. She was saying how postpartum depression is not diagnosed because black and brown people get treated differently. So I thought it was important that Miranda brought it up again, that maybe it was postpartum. Yes, sweetie, you are going through the postpartum stage. You may have postpartum depression or postpartum anxiety. I hope is not any postpartum psychosis, but we can't look over that because those are very serious issues. Miranda had her babies back to back. She got stair steppers, 202. She was saying that Kodak Black is immature, like he needs some growing up to do. Okay, you know that. You know that, sis. So act accordingly. And Miranda wants to be, she wants to be a wife, you know, she wants to be taken care of. And Lexi basically told her, Lexi basically was telling her the truth about everything. You know, you can't change anybody and you know your worth and all this type of stuff. And Miranda said that, I don't consider myself a single mom. Boo. You at home at night taking care of those kids by yourself, you a single mom. Even if the baby, the dad is in the house, if you doing everything by yourself, it's going to make you feel like a single mom. Therefore, you are a single mom when you don't have that village. You don't have people around you to help you. There was one thing that I did forget. At the restaurant when they had that fight, Jules said that she had actually already, she was basically blaming the fact that she had an emotional day, that she wasn't feeling good. She was basically blaming her emotions on why she had a fight. But she said that she told Sherelle what happened about her having to get the abortion, the termination, the same day. Okay, now, you got to understand that once you get that abortion, you're still going to go through the postpartum period. So she could be feeling all kind of anxiety, depression, everything after you've had an abortion, especially if you didn't want it. It doesn't matter, but abortion, I know that a lot of people are getting them, and it's your decision, your body, your choice. But you also have to think about the effects of an abortion. It's not only physical, but it's also emotional. Your emotional takes a toll, your physical body takes a toll, even though you didn't get pregnant for 9 months and you didn't have the baby. You can't just have that procedure and then just go about your day. She should have been at home doing some cleansing, drinking some teas, rubbing her belly, forgiving herself, and doing all these things so that she's not going to go off on people and slap their hand and get into a fight, and now you all on TV done had a fight. And I think it was extremely insensitive for Sherelle to ask her if she wanted more children, knowing that this girl was pregnant by somebody who don't want the baby, and she had to get a termination. And she said that when she had the white woman tears, when she was crying, she was saying that she do want to have more children, but she wants them to be by the same father and everybody lives under the same roof. Sometimes it don't happen that way, and you got to move on and you got to deal with it. That's just the honest truth. But Sherelle, you being a mother, you should have known not to ask her that. But she said that Sherelle said that she had forgotten something so big and so serious like that. So Sherelle, I'm looking at you like, no, you don't do that type of stuff to a woman who've just gotten a termination, an abortion. It's nothing to play with. So you don't. That's why I say that don't ask people, couples, mothers, women, when they having more children. Is this your last one? When you getting pregnant? When y'all have another baby? Please don't ask those questions. At the restaurant, Sherelle and Sade meet up, and they were basically trying to squash the beef. It was really wrong for Sade to be an hour and 20 minutes late. That's totally disrespectful. You should just might as well just cancel. If you don't want to go, then don't go. But I know reality shows, they get paid on the airtime, on them showing up to events and being filmed. But that was just wrong, Sade, to just come late like that. And for Rochelle to actually wait, and she was like, "Oh, I was just making business calls." And the bigger, the more money that you make, most of the time, the more time it's gonna take to make the money. So you messing with her time. She big business, big businesswoman. I know you. You know you got your business too, but don't mess around with people's time like that. Sherelle apologizes to Sade, and she said, "What? But I meant, I meant what I said," even though she apologized. So the pregnant ladies meet up. Keita and Portia meet up. They meet up at a restaurant and they're talking about their pregnancies. Portia says she's 18 weeks and Keita is 16 weeks. And Keita was not looking pregnant at all. She was not showing at all. And they say that usually for your first pregnancy, you don't show as much as you do when you've had multiple children. You tend to show faster. You tend to be bigger. Keita says that she wants a water birth, a home birth, and I love that for her. And I do want to say that water birth does not equal doula, because when you tell people you're a doula, they say, "Oh, I wanted a water birth." That is not the same. And so you can tell that Keita has been looking at some Instagram videos and some videos of people in the water having their peaceful delivery and the husband is behind him. She's like, "Yeah, I want to have my baby in the water and I want Tariq behind me." And then Portia was like, "Well, you know, poop comes out in the water." And Keita was like, "Oh, I didn't know that." And Portia was like, "Well, you need to fire your midwife because she didn't tell you that." Midwives, doulas, birth workers, they not going to tell you all the things that happen when you having a water birth. Now, everybody doesn't poop in the water. I had a water birth. I did poop in the water. And my husband cleaned it out. He cleaned it out. And then when we had another home birth and he saw my baby come out, that wasn't a water birth, but it was in the bed. You know, I had my baby, but the poop is not a big issue. You are happy that you have hopefully a healthy baby that's being born. So yeah, they gonna clean up the poop. Whoever it is, that's their job. They gonna clean up the poop. It happens. You pushing everything out. But everybody does not poop during childbirth. I know when I did my water birth, it was something in there. I asked my husband. I was like, "Was this a boy in there?" He was like, "Yeah," when he had to clean out the tub. But I did like how Portia was, putting her on game basically. But just because a midwife don't tell you everything that happens, to discourage you from getting a water birth, then, that's your decision. But I don't think that she should just cancel her midwife just because she did tell her all the that there are feces that may be in the water if you're having a water birth. And then after you have the baby, you get up and you get out. You ain't just sitting in the shitty water. You ain't just sitting in there. You get up and you get out. But see, these first time moms, I'm telling you, these first time moms, they have this idea that they want this serene, like, this stuff that they see on, not on TV, but on YouTube and things like that. So the next scene is at Ashley's house. They are in her backyard, I assume. And she has like this big beautiful tent laid out. Her husband was like, is that a Barbie doll house? I thought that was so cute. She was like, "No, it's a tent." They're having lunch or dinner, lunch/dinner outside. And I thought it was so cute. The decorations was so nice. Her husband was like, "Y'all better not be fighting out here. Like, y'all ain't gonna be fighting out here." So I thought that was really nice. It was a big, beautiful, nice tent that was decorated so nicely. So Sade comes and everybody, because she don't want to drink, she's saying she don't want to drink. Everybody's asking her, "Are you pregnant? Are you pregnant?" And Portia made a really good point that, like, if she is pregnant, she don't want to tell y'all the way y'all acting over people's wombs and stuff. So yeah, keep your pregnancy private as long as you can. This was one thing that I noticed. Sade was like, "Oh, y'all walking out there bare feet." And she was like, I'm gonna put my shoes on. So you mean to tell me, girl, you can't walk outside bare feet? That's a problem. You know that you need to have your feet on the ground sometimes. I like the way the lunch was served, like the table seating. It was on the floor, something very, well, on the ground. The ground seating that they had, that was really nice. I just like the way everything was decorated. Stony and then Alexis prays. They hold hand and they pray before they eat. And Stony comes in all late and not looking like she's going glamping or, going to an outdoor event. She came in. Keita and Sade ended up having a personal conversation, which is good that they had it private so no one could be putting their 2 cents in, saying whatever. But she explained the whole situation about the group chat and saying that she personally was not trying to make her stand outside in the freezing cold. So the conversation comes up about baby daddies. I thought that was really a cool conversation because a lot of people do have baby daddies and it's something that you need to start talking about. Sherelle said that I don't have any problems with the baby mamas. Stoney was like, I'm the first, and then Ashley was like, so you think you better than everybody else because you the first? And Stoney was like, no, that's not it. But Stoney made a really good point, which I heard from a guy years ago who had a lot of children by different women. I asked him, do you treat the children differently? And he says that a man is going to treat the children based on how he feels for the mother. So that's the same thing Stoney said. He was saying that you're going to treat the children differently based on how you feel about the mother. It's sad, but it's true. I've heard it more than once. And in this scene, you also hear like a lot of different noises, and Ashley tells the group that a lot of her neighbors have exotic animals and you can hear them at night. And this was, oh my gosh, this was just so like goals. She said that she can just sit out like in her backyard and just listen to the animals. Like, you ain't gotta press a button, you ain't gotta turn on YouTube to listen to animal sounds. You actually have real animal sounds. That's rich, that's luxury, that's goals. On the next scene, Sherelle is at Sherelle's home and she's having her chef there, Chef Nancy. I think that that's the same chef that used to be on I Am Athlete, which is how I learned about these ladies. The podcast, I don't know if it's still on, I don't listen to it, but the podcast, they brought on the NFL players, they brought on their wives and girlfriends. So that's how I even learned about Sherelle and Ashley and all the other ladies. So Chef Nancy is in the kitchen cooking it up with the Jamaican meals, the oxtails, cabbage and rice and plantains. She had all that, the spread out. And then her pastor comes over who will be doing their marital counseling. He's also a retired NFL player. He has some good advice that he was telling them. Chad came in later and they started to discuss their marriage, and he was giving, like I said, some really good advice to them on what they should look for and things that will make their relationship better. And Sherelle starts crying, telling Chad and the minister that she basically has issues with bringing her past trauma into this relationship. And Sherelle has been married twice, so this will be her third marriage. And she says that she has basically a fear of poverty, which a lot of us have. And, some of us do have a fear of success, a fear of everything going right, and you having money to do whatever you want to do. Some people have a fear of success, and some people have a fear of poverty. Sherelle's expressing her fear of poverty, like she don't want to be poor. And that's how a lot of people are successful. Like, they have the ambition, they have the motivation to keep going, to keep making that money, no matter what type of issues that may happen that will discourage the regular person. When they got that goal in their mind that they don't want to be poor no more, they're working to make sure they don't be poor no more. When she was crying, Chad was kind of sitting there nonchalant. It could have been that, I know a lot of men don't feel comfortable with their girlfriends, their partners, crying in front of them, and so sometimes they don't know what to do. But Chad was just like sitting there acting nonchalant. I'm sure he still cared, but he didn't really show any emotion. And I thought that that was weird. And he didn't get up to comfort her while she's actually dropping real tears because she's afraid of getting into this marriage and bringing in her past trauma into this relationship. So the last scene is at Stoney's boutique. Jules come in, and of course she came in with the shade. They came in with the shade, but no, Stoney is the one who had the shade. It's interesting how now Jules is acting like she's Team Stoney when she was talking ish about this girl getting upset about her ex tape being released. But now she's Team Stoney because they the outcasted girl, so now they teaming up. And Stoney was talking about Sherelle. I keep on wanting to call this lady Rochelle. She was talking about Sherelle has a past, and she basically said that Chad is outside. So that's the title of it. He's outside. He's outside, sweetie. So Stoney basically just put it all out there, said that Chad is cheating on Sherelle and he has some other ladies that he is entertaining. Stoney said that Chad took Sherelle to a cheap motel on their first date. Sherelle also said that they went to McDonald's, or Chad, one of them said they also went to McDonald's, and he knew, oh, she good to go. Like, basically, she ain't using him for his money. Stoney spilled the tea and said that Chad is cheating. These 2 episodes were so good. I can't wait to watch more because they done blew up on these last 2 episodes. We done went from a fight to breaking up. And you know what? Another thing, Sherelle said that she knew that she was being too hard on Stoney. And now I guess Jules is going to be the target now. But she said that she apologized to Stoney. But Stoney is like, she ain't accepting no apologies. Like, she is not trying to get on Sherelle's good side. But it's going to be interesting. I'm starting to like Portia and what she's saying. I like Lexi. Alexis with the crystals. I did not mention that, but I knew that Alexis was into that because she has the crystals on her neck and stuff, like in her jewelry. I see that. But when she said she moves to Jerusalem, I don't know if her husband, if they're coming from like a Israelite background, because usually when black people move to Jerusalem, it's because they Israelites. So maybe that's where she gets her culture from, or her cultural identity or background from. And I feel like she's open-minded to other things that are outside what regular people, because people, they demonize crystals even though it's in the Bible. But she had her crystals at the table and stuff, and Miranda was also asking her about the different meanings of the crystals. So I really like Lexi. I really like Portia. I'm not watching this trying to see who is going to be my favorite person or who I'm going to like. But those are the 2 people that I really like. Portia and Lexi seem to be saying some real stuff that I agree with. And I really like them. So let's see what happens next in this season 1, WAGS to Riches.
Thank you so much for watching. Please like, share, subscribe, and leave a comment. Let us know, what did you think about this video?